Hello guys, so today we're going to cover parallel lines cut by a transversal. Okay, so it's two lines that never intersect. These parallel lines never intersect. They're called parallel lines. Arrows on the lines indicate that they are parallel, which is these arrows right here. Those represent that it's parallel. The symbol for parallel lines, it's supposed to be straight up and down, but I think that looks too much like ones, so I make mine slanted when I do parallel, just so you know it's not a 1 or an L. Okay, a line that intersects two or more lines is called a transversal. So if it cuts through two lines, it is two or more lines, it's called a transversal. In the diagram to the left, you would write L is parallel to M. And the transversal is T. All right, so now we're going to talk about learning some angle relationships that go on when you have a transversal that's cut through two parallel lines. Okay, corresponding angles, corresponding means same position, they're in the same spot, position or spot, or in the same position, see there we go, on the parallel lines in relation to the transversal. These angles are congruent. So when we look at this graph right here, the congruent angles are going to be angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. The corresponding angles which are congruent are angle 1 and 5, angle 2 and 6. So angle 2 is congruent to angle 6. And then we would also have 3 and 7. Angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. And then we would have 4 and 8. Angle 4 is congruent to angle 8. Notice there are 4 sets of angles that are called corresponding angles. All right. Now we have alternate interior angles. They are interior, so they are the inside the parallel lines, and they are alternate, which is opposite sides of the transversal. These angles are always congruent. Okay, so we have opposite interior. So we have angle 4, and it is congruent to angle 6. And another example are 3 and 5. So angle 3 is congruent to angle, to angle 5. Next set of angles. We have alternate exterior angles. Exterior meaning outside the parallel lines, and alternate being opposite the transversal. Outside parallel, opposite the transversal. These angles are congruent. And they're going to be 1 and 7. They're opposite sides of the transversal and outside of the two parallel lines. So this is angle 1 is congruent to angle 7. And then we have 2 and 8. Angle 2 is congruent to angle 8. And now we have corresponding. No, I'm not. We already did corresponding. This is consecutive interior angles. Consecutive means that they're on the same side of the transversal, and interior means inside the parallel lines. These angles are always supplementary, which means they're equal to 180 degrees. 0. 180 degrees. So we would have, for instance, 3 and 6. So we would have the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 6 equals 180 degrees. And we would also have 4 and 5. So we would say the measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 5 equals 180 degrees. All right, now we're going to apply these situations. All right, so let's look at the directions. So it says using the diagram to the left, we're going to classify the angle pair and indicate whether they are congruent or supplementary. Okay, so if I look at 4, I'm looking at angle 3 and angle 7. 3 and 7. Okay, they are on opposite sides of the transversal and inside the parallel lines. So then we're looking at this and it's opposite inside. Opposite inside. So therefore, I'm going to come up here. I'm going to look which ones tell me that opposite inside. So it's alternate interior angles. So I can write alternate interior angles. Now, what about the measures of those? Come up here. So the measures, those are congruent. So and yes, you can do this shortened abbreviation as well. That's not a problem. Okay, alternate interior angles, and I'm doing angles by making the symbol with an S beside it. And these are congruent. And next, we're going to look at 4. So now I'm looking at 6 and 7. They're inside and both on the same side. So they're inside and same side. So these are consecutive interior angles, and they are considered supplementary. All right, working some other examples. Going on to the next page. Oops, the back of the page. Here we go. For number 2. All right, these two, J and K, are parallel. So I'm going to put my little arrows to show that they're parallel. Measure of angle 7 is 134. So 134 right here. Okay, well, I'm going to remember some angle relationships right now from a video before. Angle 7 and angle 1 are vertical angles. They are congruent. So I know right now this is 134. Okay, so I automatically know that. Now, 7 is also congruent with 3 because of being alternate. So I can say right here, I'll say angle 7 and angle 3 are alternate interior angles. So therefore, this is 134. Well, 3 and 5 are vertical angles. So we said angle 1 and angle 7 were vertical angles. And now we're saying that angle 3 and angle 5 were vertical angles. So this is 134. So I already found 4 angles with doing no calculations, just learning my relationships with my angles. Okay, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to write those down right now. Okay, so I've got 1 is 134 degrees. 5 is 134 degrees. 3 is 134 degrees. And There's no 7 here. We'll add it in, measure of angle 7, because it gives it to me. That's why. Equals 134 degrees. That's why it does that. Okay, so we don't really have to have that one. I'm just adding it. Okay, here we go. Now we've got to figure out the other angles. Okay, so when I look at this, I see that these two angles together make a straight line. So that means these two equal 180. So I can do 180 minus 134, which gives me 46. So I know that 8 is 46. Well, if 8 is 46, by vertical angles, 2 is 46. By alternate interior angles, because these two are alternate interior angles, so we said that angle 8 and angle 2 were vertical. We're saying angle 2 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. This one's 46. So then by vertical angles, 4 is 46 as well. So I've got angle 6 and angle 4 are vertical angles. The only calculation I had to do was to figure out 8. And if you'll notice, let me write these down first, then I'll go there. So measure of angle 2 is 46. Angle 4 is 46 degrees. Angle 6 is 46 degrees. And angle 8 is 46 degrees. Now, what I want to show you is, look at the orange. No, look at the black. That might be better. Okay. And you will see that this makes a zigzag. Okay. When it makes the zigzag, all angles in zigzag in the Z are congruent. Notice that 46, 46, 46, 46, 134, 134, 134, 134. That's just a little trick to help you to remember. Okay, number 4, here we go. So we're given that W and V are parallel. So we know that these two are parallel. All right, it tells me this is 59. So I'm going to go through right now. I'm going to label everything that I can on this figure. Okay, if 59 is this angle, that means 6 is 59. Okay, these two are alternate interior angles. So this is 59. 3 and 2 are vertical angles. So this is 59. Okay, that's this one transversal. Notice the zigzag, zigzag. Okay, now I'm going to talk about this transversal. This angle is given to me as 104. Vertical angles, this is 104. Alternate interior angles, 12 is 104. Vertical angles, 12 and 13, 13 is 104. Notice the zigzag. All right, now we're going to have to do some calculations. Okay, so I got to figure out what either 5 or 7 are, and because it makes a straight line. So I'm going to do 5. So we know this makes a straight line. So that means I'm going to be doing 180 minus 59, which gives me 121. So therefore, 5 is 121. If 5 is 121, 7 is 121 by vertical angles. Okay, 5 and 4 are alternate interior angles, so they're congruent. So therefore, this is 121. 1 and 4 are vertical angles, so this is 121. So that took care of this transversal. Notice, I cannot do anything with this transversal on this one. They're two separate things. If you need to, draw a line between it. So you just think about it as two separate things. You could just put a curly line or something to where it just wavy line so you don't mix them up if that's what you need to do. Okay, now we got to figure out this side. Okay, so we're given the 104 here, so I'm going to either find 8 or 10. I'm going to do 10 because that one seems kind of bunched up together right here. Okay, so from here to here makes a straight angle. So that means I'm going to be doing 180 minus 104, which is going to give me 76. So that means 76 is angle 10. Well, if 10 is 76, 8 is 76. If 10 is 76, 11 is 76. If 11 is set by alternate interior, if 11 is 76, then by vertical angles, 14 is 76. I have labeled this entire figure and I have the measure for every single one of the angles. Now we need to write them down. Okay, so I'm going to go back to those same colors. All right, so I've got the measure of angle 1 is 121 degrees, 4 is 121 degrees, 5 is 121 degrees, 7 is 121 degrees. Okay. 2 is 59 degrees, 3 is 59 degrees, 6 is 59 degrees, 'Kay, now I've got orange, so that's 9 is 104 degrees, 12 is 104 degrees, and 13 is 104 degrees. Okay, and we have pink is the 76. So I've got 8 is 76 degrees, 10 is 76 degrees, 11 is 76 degrees, and 14 is 76 degrees. We found all of those angles. Okay, just a couple of more examples. Okay. Number 2. First things, it's classify the angle and then find the value of x. Okay, so those two angles are corresponding. They are in the same spot. Okay, so these are called corresponding angles. So I'm going to have, since they're corresponding, that means they're congruent. So I have 17x minus 14 equals 108. And now we solve. So I'm going to add 14, and I get 17x equals 153. Divide by 17, and x equals 9. We have 2 answers to this because you have the label, okay, and we have what x equals. Moving right along, look at number 12 on the back of here. Okay. We have J and K are parallel. Okay. Angle 2 is 7x plus 13. 8 is 10x minus 44. Find each angle measure. Okay. I'm going to change colors with this real quick because I'm going to keep all of one in one color and all the other in another color. So I've got that this is 10x minus 44. Okay, so if I use the zigzag thing, that means 2 and 4 are congruent. 4 and 6 are congruent, vertical, alternate interior, and 6 and 8 are congruent. So that tells me right here that these two angles are equal to one another. So that means also I can look at it and see these are alternate exterior angles. And you need to do the zigzag. So because these are alternate exterior angles. So I'm going to have 7x plus 13 equals 10x minus 44. And now I'm going to solve. So I'm going to subtract 10x, add 13. No, subtract 13. Ooh. It's 10x minus 4. So I'm going to subtract the 10x, subtract the 13. When I do this, this cancels, and I'm left with negative 3x equals 57. Now I divide, oh, and that's a negative 57. So I divide by negative 3 to both sides, and I get that x equals 19. Now, I need to label each angle. So that means I've got to figure out what does this angle equal. So I'm going to do 7 times 19 plus 13. 7 times 19, enter, which is 133. Plus 13, that gives me 146. So this is 146. So that means 2, 4, 6, 8 are all the same. 146 degrees, 146 degrees, 146 degrees, 146 degrees. So now I need to find the next one. This is a long video. Sorry about that, guys. This is just a lot of information. Okay, so now I need to find the next one. So I'm going to try this, 2 and 3. Well, that means I'm going to be doing 180 minus 146. 180 minus 146, which is going to give me 34. So 3, 1, 5, and 7 all equal 34. So 34 degrees, 34 degrees, 34 degrees, 34 degrees. There you go. If you have questions, pause and rewind, or come ask me. Have a great day.